We're just over a week away from the 7.0 stream for Genshin Impact, and with it, the full-blown reveal for Snezhnaya. What I mean by full-blown, I mean we'll get to see the map for the first time, we'll get to see the story in detail for the first time properly, and we're gonna see everything in-game as well, not animated. So that is going to be something to obviously look forward to, of course, and something that I think we're all excited to see, of course, right? But before we do that and before we get ready for that, I want to go over some of my hopes for Snezhnaya, be it, of course, the story side of things, the gameplay side of things, or the quality of life features I hope to see get introduced. As of course, we're entering a new region, a new patch cycle. There should be something, at least for a majority of us players, to experience and look forward to when it comes to all three of these things, right? Now, first and foremost, I would like to say that let me know in the comments whether you think my wishes and hopes are, you know, something reasonable or too far-fetched, and let me know also your thoughts. What do you guys hope to see from Snezhnaya in the coming months, of course, right? Because let's be real, not everything will be in 7.0. Mind you, it's not the anniversary stream either. 7.1 is the anniversary stream, so there's a very good chance that they could leave something for that instead. So just keep that in mind when you're obviously, you know, getting your expectations ready for the 7.0 stream, right? So just bear that in mind. Now, I want us to start off with the story. And as a lore head and as a lore enjoyer, I think that this is the one that I have very high expectations for in terms of I want it to be done right. I don't care if everything else is a bit muddled or a bit messy. The story is where they need to absolutely nail it, right? So first and foremost, generally speaking, I want, from a story perspective, from the overall Genshin story perspective, to get a better and clearer understanding of what the Heavenly Principles truly is, and be that a full-blown reveal of him or they being AI, they being a actual individual, or whatever else. I think that we need to get a clear understanding of what they truly are as we progress into what will be probably the final Teyvat chapter, be it Khaenri'ah or the start of the prologue to Teyvat chapter 2, whatever it may be, right? Who knows what's next after Snezhnaya? It's still too early to say. But right now, I would say that if this is indeed going to be the last chapter and it's going to go on a cliffhanger to the next part of Teyvat or whatever it might be, we're still going to need a understanding of what the Heavenly Principles is, especially now that we know, based on obviously the Snezhnaya preview, that the Shades are going to be heavily involved with whatever is going to go down, right? So my personal opinion, I think we do need a fuller and clearer understanding of the Heavenly Principles. The second thing I want is, and it'll actually merge with the fourth. I'm going to merge the second and fourth parts together, right? I want this Tsaritsa's backstory to be handled really well, because we've heard for so many years that, you know, from various people, from various blurbs, various books, whatever it may be, we've heard that the Tsaritsa has undergone a massive change since the Cataclysm, right? And we saw in the preview as well that that was a critical point as well, right? With the child, the picture being cut as well, somebody being cut away from the picture, potentially her lover, then her son also being cut away. So there is something critical there, and I hope that it's handled well. And I'm going to merge my fourth point, like I said, because my fourth point that I was going to make, I think actually will go well with the second point, is that whatever the backstory may be with the Tsaritsa, I want it to not affect the ideology and also her reasons for doing what she did, right? And what I mean by that is, I don't want it to wash away the evils and also the wrongs that she's done in her endeavor to obviously challenge the Shades and the Heavenly Principle, right? Because let's be real, right? She's endorsed and let all of these people do what they want, right? She let Dottore get away with so much bullshit. So in my personal opinion, if you have these characters that are doing what they can, of course, right, doing whatever they want, doing whatever they can, and obviously potentially going around stealing, robbing, beating up people, whatever it may be, you have endorsed this, basically this sort of behavior, and that's causing a lot of problems, of course, for various nations. And even it seems like within the nation itself there's a lot of division going on, right, with the poor, the rich, Project Stuja not being accepted by people. See, clearly there's a lot of division between the Snezhnayans itself as well, right? So that is a critical point that I hope they don't just let it wash away, because her backstory, we know it's going to be emotional. We know it's going to probably affect our perception of the Tsaritsa for sure. I think that's going to play a massive role, but I don't think it should be also something that we acknowledge as it washing away what she's done. This is, of course, something similar to what happened with Revere, of course, right, in Nordcry. I don't think it washed away his sins. He accepted it. He was willing to acknowledge that he did wrong, and he's being punished for it, of course, staying away from Felindus and also being stuck in that time space dimension. It makes sense for it to end there, and it ended there perfectly fine, right? He felt remorse, absolutely, but Columbina didn't accept it, and neither did anybody else either, to be fair. When they were watching it, nobody else accepted it. So I think that is a good way of going about it. Yes, people still felt like he was forgiven. I don't believe that to be the case. I don't think anybody forgave him, and nobody accepted it either. Everybody just acknowledged that yes, you did wrong, you accepted it, fair enough. You can forgive, but you can't forget, is the main point there, right? And I think that should be applied here in a way as well. Maybe less forgivance, but more fair enough. You know, you did wrong, you did this for this purpose, but that's still wrong. We just need that more so than anything else, right? So that, in my opinion, those 2 points, critical, very critical to the Snezhnaya story itself, in my personal opinion, and the region, right? That is the most critical point for the region. The final thing I want to see when it comes to the story is an answer for the Pyronosis. Is it actually lost? Is it in the hands of somebody? And if it is in the hands of somebody, I can see it being potentially Rhine Daughter, because of course, right, Rhine Daughter is obviously now a shade, right? She has the ability to obviously take away the gnosis and hide it somewhere beyond the reaches of all the archons, because the shades are above the archons in terms of their stature, in terms of their position. So it would make sense. That's the reason why nobody could sense it. None of the archons could sense it, right? And it would also make a lot of reason and give a possible plot point for her match against the Tsaritsa and their discussion that they had as well. So there could be something at play there as well, which I think would work amazingly. It'll also give us a little bit more indication as to whether Nibiris actually has any sort of agency over Rhine Daughter in terms of control, in terms of, you know, potentially reasoning and with Rhine Daughter in terms of whether or not she's allowed to do such a thing of, you know, keeping the gnosis for herself, to negotiate, potentially to defect away from the heavenly principles. That could be something to look forward to as well. So those are the main hopes I have from Snezhnaya. In terms of everything else, of course, we're gonna have to just wait and watch and see what happens. But yeah, I think a lot of the story I want to see from Snezhnaya is surrounding the Snezhnayans themselves and the heavenly principles. I think the Abyss can take a little bit of a backseat for this one. They'll still play a role for sure, right? I think all the factions, this is something I've said since I think Sumeru and Fontaine. All the factions that we know in Genshin Impact, you know, the Traveler, the regions themselves, the archons, you could say, the 7 archons, the Abyss, the heavenly principles, and Celestia by extension, they've all played a role in some way, shape, or form in every story, right? So I don't expect the Abyss to just be quiet during Snezhnaya, but I don't think they will play as active of a role as they have played in recent stories, is my expectation there. Now we come on to the gameplay, right? And for the gameplay, I want to see a larger map. And what I mean by a larger map, I want big landmass, right? I don't mind if Snezhnaya is connected to Nordcry via small mini islands and it's still waterways, but the main land itself, I want it to be big, I want it to be massive. I haven't looked at any leaks or anything, so please don't spoil me on anything about the map. I want to be surprised when I look at it next week. But I do hope it's a big landmass, right? That's what I do hope. And with the expansions as well, when it does come out, 7.2, 7.3, 7.6, whenever the rest of the expansions for Snezhnaya come out, I want it to be connected landmass as well. I don't want mini archipelago islands, to be honest. I really don't want it. I want it to be big. I want it to be bold. So fingers crossed, big island. That's what I hope. Stellar reactions shouldn't be as limited as lunar reactions, right? The problem with stellar lunar reactions was that the only really good enabler for it was Columbina, and she was the only 5-star option available to us, right? What I do hope is that there is more enablers for stellar reactions in the coming patches, or alternatively, 4 stars are also allowed to set up stellar reactions, right? Now, I already have a doubt that that's going to happen based on Alyosha's kit, right? Because we already saw in the drip marketing, right, where Odette had stellar linchpin, Sandrone has a stellar linchpin. Alyosha only has a vision, which tells me he's not going to be able to enable stellar reactions. He'll probably still help for sure, but I don't think he's going to actually be able to enable and start up stellar reactions, which I think is a problem. I wish they just let 4 stars be able to do it as well. But alas, that's not going to happen clearly. Obviously, I hope the Traveler is able to enable stellar reactions as well. That'll be a great way to just already unlimit effectively stellar reactions, unlike how lunar reactions was locked. So that'll be great as well. Let's wait and see on this one. I'm really just hoping that it's a lot more freer for players to be able to just jump in and make it accessible, right? Because lunar reactions was not accessible. You do need a lot of factors and summons to go your way to be able to build a team for lunar bloom or lunar crystallizations or lunar charge, right? So yeah, that's something I hope they clean it up a little bit more on and make it more accessible. The shooting gameplay looks fun, but I don't want it to be overpowering the existing gameplay. I don't want it to overtake the importance of the existing gameplay and also take control of future events, in my personal opinion. Let it have its own game mode. I'm okay with it having its one game mode or whatever it might be. And, you know, maybe like it can have like small mini events here and there, and then maybe like one end game content for the shooting gameplay, but that's it. I don't want it to go beyond that, to be quite honest. I think it's fine, it's great. Let it connect to the story, of course, as well, because there will be something regarding that. And then, of course, let it have its one game mode or one primary game mode. That's it. That's all we need from it. Like, don't get me wrong, cool, but the premise of Genshin Impact's combat is the original combat, not this third-person shooter. So that's my personal opinion. And finally, please, better puzzles. Screw the people who struggle with Inuzuma's puzzles, because those were fun. Puzzles are supposed to be a challenge in games, be it gacha or otherwise. There is no fun when you make them either painstakingly easy or mind-numbingly boringly easy, right? There's just no fun in it. Make them challenging, make them something that we have to work towards, make them interact with the map in better ways. That's what I hope from this upcoming region, right? Just give us better puzzles, please, for the love of God. I beg of you, Genshin Impact. We need better puzzles. And finally, for the quality of life, right? This one, I think it's pretty obvious which ones I'm going to talk about. And there's 2 primary ones, right? One, resin overflow. I think this is the one that I've wanted the most. And actually, I'll put 3 in. The first being resin overflow, of course. Like I said, I think there is a massive need for it, to be quite honest. The way the resin works right now, to be honest, there are times where I hit 200 and you probably lose like maybe 5 or 10 resin every 2 or 3 days in the sense of how I play Genshin Impact on a daily basis. But that's 5 to 10 resin over a month, which could be about 50 resin that I'm losing out on, which is a run. It's not a lot if you think about it, but still, that's over a month. You're losing 50 resin. That could be a good run in a specific domain or world boss or something, right? So for me, I feel like it would be nice if they gave us resin overflow. The second point that I completely just forgot about when making the points that I wanted to make for this video, I forgot that I want domains to be open at all times. It's as simple as that. Just leave domains open every day. It doesn't matter. People are going to come into the game anyways every day. So let them be open. Let them be accessible. I mean, you've already done it for 2 weeks in a patch. Brilliant. Why not make it 6 weeks for a patch? Let it be open all time. I don't understand why they don't just do that, because it just would make life a lot easier and much simpler, to be honest. It would just be so nice. It would be so nice if they did that. And then finally, this is something I personally am not the biggest fan of, to be quite honest, because I've already seen how it has gone in HSR with players just not really understanding the story. Even though they want to keep up with the story, they've skipped and it's caused them to not understand the story. Again, that's their problem because they press the buttons and everything. You could say that, right? But just not having it in game anyways will provide people to just have to read the story. And yes, I am talking about, of course, introducing a skip button. I think it's fine. Let people get a skip button, but I still believe, based on what I've seen of HSR and just based on how I see people understand Genshin Impact now that they've reduced the spoon feeding, I think it would be much better for them to not introduce a skip button. But I think, it's 7 years since the game's come out. There's a lot of, players trying to catch up and everything. Just add a skip button right now. People will go and watch YouTube videos and read it again and again if they want to, right? Reactions or actual just game walkthrough story, uploads, right? Whatever it may be. But yes, that is my hope for Genshin Impact's Snezhnaya release. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with the points I made? Disagree with the points I make? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say and what your guys' hopes are for what's to come in 7.0 and onwards. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.